All right, Joey and Corrina Roppo, right? Roppo,
Hi, yes.
Got that right? Okay, cool. Dated and related. I told you guys this off air. No bullshit. You are my favorite sibling, or I gotta include the cousins, but favorite sibling pair on the show. You guys are awesome.
Thank you so
thank
much. We
you.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you.
was like this perfect mix of like wholesomeness, and you guys could tell you truly had each other's backs, and it was just fun to watch. And you guys are both fun and great personalities and balance each other really well.
Thank you so much. We really
Yeah.
appreciate
Yeah, I
that.
got your back.
Secret. Ooh, I love it. I love it. Okay.
Did that once or twice on the show.
Couple times.
Yes. Okay. So let's just start with the show, like the whole process. Like, what made you want to do it in the first place? Who was like the driving force? And
You.
Yeah, so they found us on TikTok. Like we did a couple of TikTok dances during quarantine, and they did really well. And then people would started saying like, "Oh, you guys are such a cute couple," and I'd be like, "No, that's my sister." So I started hashtagging siblings, and that's how they found us. They reached out to me on Instagram, like, "Hey, we have this sibling show. We think you and your sister would be great for." Reached out. At first, honestly, I thought it was a scam. I was like, "This can't be real," because they didn't say Netflix right away. They were just like, the show, and I told Corrina about it. Corrina actually had a boyfriend at the time, and I was like,
no.
Corrina, well, we knew, we do music and all that stuff, and we were working towards that. I'm like, we have no connections in the entertainment industry. At least take the meeting and see what happens, right? And so I talked her into the meeting, and it ended up going really well. And yeah, that's kind of what happened. And we didn't hear back for a few months, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, this is for Netflix. We want to fly you guys out to France next week.
yeah.
And
There we
yeah,
were.
it was crazy.
So yeah, that's awesome. So for people that don't know the timeline, right? Like this is what end of September 2022.
Yeah.
You guys filmed the show in what, August of 21?
Yes.
So it came out almost a full year later.
Yes.
So you said that happened during quarantine when they contacted you for like because of your TikToks?
Yeah.
That's when the TikTok started, and then they contacted us.
They
in
reached
like,
out.
What, April of 21?
Yeah, March or April
Something
of
like that.
2021, and then we did the interview shortly after that, and then didn't hear back for like 3 months, and they hit us up in the summer, like a few weeks before they flew us out.
Wow. So were you still dating somebody at the time of the?
Things went south really quickly.
Okay.
So no.
So
Yeah,
the show
no.
had nothing to do with the.
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay. So once you were out of that little whatever you want to call it, relationship or dating somebody,
Yeah.
were you like super into the idea?
I was like, I'm going to France.
yeah. Okay.
City
That's
of
awesome.
love. You can't find love in France. You can't find love.
Don't say that to
That's
me.
what I said.
Don't say that.
Neither of us found love, unfortunately. But
Oh my
It happens.
gosh.
It happens.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So were you? So I remember talking to Jason and Chris, right, who
Yeah.
co-stars on the show.
Yeah.
They said they weren't allowed to tell their parent. They didn't want them to tell their parents. Did you have a similar experience where like they?
You couldn't tell anybody.
Anybody.
That was like the craziest part was when we first got back from the show. It was just like you had this craziest experience of your life, and you can't tell anyone. So you're just like.
Like I did a thing.
But that's the nice
and
thing
you'll
about-
know about it soon.
That's
Like
the thing about nice thing about doing it with a sibling is just like that we at
have
least
someone to talk to
yeah
about it.
we had someone there that was like there knew everything that happened. I couldn't imagine doing something like that solo and coming back for a year and having to go back to work and doing all that stuff and not being able to tell anybody, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's just it's a crazy experience.
Yeah, because people probably think you're like bumming around and like what are you actually up to and living
And
like
when we
this.
left too, people are like, "Are you going to be safe? Or what's going on? Like, why are you even leaving?" Like, it was
Yeah.
really weird.
All
for
my
them too,
my
for
gym
that.
partners were all freaking out. They're like, "What?" Because I wasn't at the gym for like a week. Like
I'm
thought
gonna
I was
leave for,
dead.
like,
You know what I mean? It
you
was
come back
crazy.
with texts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so fun though. But yeah, no. At first, our parents were definitely like, "Where are you guys going?"
They didn't
Like,
want me to go, but they're like,
they
since
thought-
Joey's going, I guess it's okay. Like,
Yeah, they for
There
sure
you
wouldn't
go.
let you go by yourself. Oh, I probably
No.
wouldn't let you go by yourself, but they thought we were gonna get like kidnapped or whatever because we'd never been to Europe at that point. So it was just like, yeah, kind of surreal.
Yeah. And so for people that don't know, you're 29 now.
29 now, yeah.
And 24.
24, yeah.
Okay. So 5-year age gap. Big bro is there.
Big bro.
He's got your back. That's one that
Yes.
you guys truly had each other's back, and I really did love seeing that. So did you have? So I would say Jason and Chris were the fuck boys, right? I think they were advertised as such. I think they may have even been coaxed to be more of that role. Did you guys have like any sort of like typecast role, or like because I feel like they had that on lock, like where they were like, we need a couple fuck boys to like spice things up a little bit. Did you have anything like that where it was?
I don't know. I feel like mine is just kind of the hopeless romantic. You know what I mean?
I have that in my notes, by the way, for
Do
you.
you?
I was like, hopeless
Yeah.
romantic, loves love. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we had like they didn't tell us like you're gonna be this going.
I was
like
just
we were
being
just gonna be
myself, and that
ourselves.
happened
that's
to
kind
be
of
my role, I
yeah,
feel
it happened
like.
to be the role.
Okay.
So it just wasn't anything specific. But yeah, at least I felt like that.
I agree.
Did you have any certain expectations? Like, were you more interested in like? Because I feel like finding love versus being on a show, it's like two very different things, and then they're combined. Did you have certain expectations going in?
for me, I was like, this is going to be on a TV. Like, that's so cool, but I'm going to find love. Like, that was kind of where I was coming from with it. I don't know. It was kind of weird, but.
I don't feel like I had any expectation because it's like, how do you don't know,
what do you know? Yeah.
Until you're actually there doing it. Like, it's kind of a surreal thing. You're just like, oh, there's going to be cameras there. There's going to be other people there. But like, until you're actually there doing it, it's just like,
you don't know what to expect.
You don't know what to expect. So going in there, honestly, I didn't know what the guys were going to be like. So I was more concerned about making sure she was okay and making sure nobody was like trying to take advantage of her or do anything like that. So
the first day we go in, he's like, okay, hopefully I don't have to like punch someone in the first
well, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know like what if it was. I was hoping that it was going to be a bunch of brothers, sisters, just so like there'd be a mutual respect between the brothers, that we wouldn't be doing anything crazy. You know what I mean?
That's
So
the other thing is we thought the whole time it was going to be other brother sister pairs. We didn't know it was going to be like brother, sister,
right,
that kind of thing. So that was interesting too.
Definitely. And I think the show as a whole, like, had a really, you guys, like, the whole cast kind of had a really good camaraderie, and like comparing it to some like trash reality shows from the past where there's so much drama stirred up. Like, it seemed like the cast overall got along really well.
Really well.
There was, mixing and matching and a little bit of competition.
yeah, I think honestly the main thing with that was there's just way more guys than girls. Obviously, I think if there was even numbers, there would have been no drama at all because everyone got along so well. So I think that definitely played a part in it.
I feel like too, having our show be different and having that like family aspect that, I don't know, there's like a different kind of relationship that you form with your castmates.
That makes a lot of sense. I think definitely gives you a little bit of empathy and like just like being more considerate. Yeah.
Everyone kind of had that respect for it, and we all came in pairs, obviously. So I think,
yeah. Did you guys have what's that?
No, just everyone had that kind of mutual respect for each other.
Definitely seemed that way. Do you have any like favorite dating or reality dating shows that you had watched growing up or recently that you were like, oh, I kind of hope it's like that? Or
well, before I was like a huge fan of The Bachelor, Bachelorette. I would watch everything, and I made you watch it.
Yeah, I watched a couple seasons just because. I was into it though. I'm not gonna lie. I was like protesting, like everyone.
He's like, oh, it's not cool, but then he sits on the couch and watches them.
Into it.
Of course,
I can't believe she picked him. Type thing, you know what I mean?
He loves it.
Start a podcast about it.
Exactly. No, but I would love that. And then before we left for filming, we watched Love Island.
Yeah. I also watched Too Hot to Handle. My friend Chase was on season 2 of Too Hot to Handle.
Oh, I remember
we went
that.
to college together, so it was super cool to see him on there.
I remember seeing him on there.
Yeah.
I watched season 2. I didn't watch season 1 of Too Hot to Handle. Yeah.
Season 1's good.
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah. Too Hot to Handle is very entertaining for sure. But
definitely.
I didn't watch a lot of reality TV, honestly, before I did this, except for what I watched with her and then Chase's season of Too Hot.
Hey, it's okay. This is a safe space. You can,
you
can admit it. You can admit it.
No.
Yeah, so if anyone has seen you guys on social media, you guys are incredible dancers. You do a lot of brother-sister combos and then some individual stuff. So, so Joey, you claim that you started the
I would like to say,
I mean, you're older.
Yeah, I've always danced. I've always loved to dance, and I think during quarantine when this started, that's when TikTok first started. And I was like, started blowing up, and I seen these people do these dances, and I'm like, I'm pretty competitive. I'm like, I think we can do it better than them. You know what I mean? So that's why we started just doing it, and a couple TikToks early did really well for us, and then that's how we got found for the show. So it was super fun, and obviously we kept it going. So
love that.
What do you think?
Well,
you got something to say?
I do have something to say. Well, we would start dancing. We would do it together. Like I was telling you off air that we would have like NSYNC VHSs of their live concert and then like rewind it and play it back, trying to memorize their dances and stuff like that. But different. We were, like,
young.
Yeah.
I love that you know what a VHS is because
of course
some kids today, they don't know.
Of course I do. But there's that, and then I feel like different from you, like you're really self-taught in hip hop. I am a theater kid, and I would do like a lot of performing and dancing that way. So that's kind of how I learned to dance.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's cool. I went to a place called Playground, which is like on Melrose right over here. It's a dance studio. I went there a couple months ago.
Oh yeah.
And
you a dancer too?
No. I'm not a dancer. I enjoy it. And I went with a friend because he goes and he's like, oh, it's a beginner class. This was not a beginner class.
Oh, no.
There was like, first of all, it was packed out. There was like probably like 100 plus people in the studio, right?
Was it hip hop?
It was a hip hop dance class, yeah.
Oh,
and there was everyone from like 5-year-old girl, maybe 7-year-old girls up to like, 35-year-old guy, me,
That's
like
so
other
cool,
people.
Though.
It was cool. It was fun. But like for me, it was like they had done the song and dance the week before. So this is the second
so
session.
they already knew.
They knew it.
They set you up to fail.
A little bit. They set me up to fail. Yeah, I'm not gonna blame them totally, but it was rough. It was rough. So like for me, it was like I didn't even know like how to do the moves individually, and then to put them into like these crazy combinations, it was rough. And then they would do something where it was like, all right, like group 1 on the floor, group 2. And so it'd be like me and like 5 other people with like 90 people watching. And I'm just like 10 steps behind everybody else. Then it was like all the guys on the floor. There was like 5 guys in the whole class. So it was fun, but it was like, it would have been more fun
if you hit the first
like
class.
An audition.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough, but I had a good time. Definitely gets like a nice like dopamine and an adrenaline spike.
Good.
And
You can be in one of our TikToks.
I would love to be in one of your TikToks. Yeah. I'll be a background guy for sure. But yeah. So now that it's like post show, so there's a guy, I don't know if you ever heard of him. This guy, Chris Williamson. He was like, I think he said he was the first person ever through the door at like Love Island UK. So like the first season, first person through the door. Now he's like he's got an incredible YouTube channel, podcast. He's more like about like intellectual stuff and curiosity. But he was kind of saying, if you go on a reality show, right, and you do well and you're not a complete fuck up, like if you don't parlay that into like something else, then you're the only one to blame, right? So now you guys are the show's been out for almost a month. You're riding the wave. You're doing some appearances. You're killing it on social media. So what's like the individual plans, like in terms of like more long-term goals?
Like we said, Corrina has an album coming out here in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks.
So
It's so exciting. We've been working on music for a long time. She's done it for a lot longer. Like I started playing guitar probably 5-6 years ago. We started writing songs.
My first song I wrote when I was 12.
Maybe even before that.
I don't even want to.
We started writing music together like probably 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So we've been doing this for a while now, and it's really exciting to put like an album out, and then especially I'll let her talk about it more, but like about what the contents of the album and all that stuff is super exciting.
But that's kind of like the goal moving forward is like this is a great experience, and now we're living in LA and hopefully doing more music, hopefully doing more performing and stuff like that.
Yeah. So tell me a little more about the album. So it comes out, and yeah, please, you have at it. The mic is yours.
No, I'm so excited about it because I am a songwriter, and the second we were on the plane to go home from France from filming, I started writing about stuff that was happening. And I'm one of those people that I feel like I don't always say what I think in the moment. I'll just like, okay, move on to the next thing, just deal with it that way. And so these songs are kind of a way of deep diving into my thoughts and what I was actually feeling when I was feeling it in the year of experience that I've had since filming.
So the album is mostly about like things that were like spawned from the show, and
you'll see some familiar stories. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Very interested. Yeah. That sounds amazing.
She's a very talented like songwriter with her storytelling and all that stuff. So it's very specific and true to her. So like, yeah, you'll definitely might be able to guess who the songs are about in certain situations. So it's super cool, and I'm really excited for you guys to hear it.
That's awesome. And you played guitar.
I play guitar, yeah,
on the album.
Yeah,
it's an acoustic album, and he's an amazing guitarist. So it's just one guitar track and then like all of the vocal tracks. And we wanted to keep it really raw, keep it authentic to how it was written, just so you can kind of go on the emotional journey that I went on in the villa.
That's amazing.
That's typically how we write songs as well. Is like I'll make a guitar loop, record it, send it to her, and if she likes it, she'll like just
Be like, yes. Or if I don't, I'm like, do it again.
Well, she can write a song within 5 minutes if I send her a loop, and she'll just like start humming the melody and then put lyrics to it like that.
If I have something to say, it goes quickly.
Yeah, no. Okay. Sometimes she'll just be like, I got some stuff to say, and I just go straight to my room and just start trying to cook something up so she can give it to her so she can start writing. But it's super fun, and it's just crazy to see her work like that. It's so fun that we can do that together.
I love that. Yeah, that's amazing. You guys do it all. I feel like I want to go to like when the album comes out, download it, go to a coffee shop on a rainy Sunday, and just get a nice coffee and listen to the
definitely. That's definitely the vibe for sure.
That's the vibe for it, for
awesome.
sure. Mm-hmm.
Nice. So you guys, I mean, look, show's been out for a month. Spoilers if you haven't watched, skip ahead. But you guys both did not find love in the house. Do you like? Is there anyone you wish you maybe would have explored more, or like not even anyone in particular, or was it just like you met people, you tried it out and wasn't there? Like what was?
I don't have any regrets about anything.
Yes.
I feel like I kind of left it all out there.
Okay.
And that's where it's gonna stay.
Yeah. No, I feel the same. I think everyone in there was amazing, but definitely don't feel like my match was in there. But everyone was amazing again. It just didn't happen to work out.
Sure. Well, it's interesting too because like with the dating app, right? The way I think about it, like a lot of people think that there's so many options out there, and which there are in the app, right? It's almost endless.
It is.
Yeah, which is crazy. It makes it hard to find somebody sometimes.
Definitely.
Which is interesting with the show because obviously there's a limited number of people, but at the same time, it's like you try something with somebody, then it doesn't work, then you move on to the next person. So like, I don't know, for me, it makes me question like, you know, if there's like one person for everybody, which I want to believe, but then at the same time, it's like you think you're really into somebody and then it doesn't work out. Then you think you're really into somebody else. Like, did the show like, you know, maybe change your opinions on anything, or to make you, what did you learn from the whole thing in terms of like, you know, being into somebody, then being into someone else? And
I still have faith that there's that one perfect person, but you know, I think there's multiple people you could be compatible with, but you know, I just gotta trust the process and I just keep being myself, and then eventually we'll find the right one.
Yeah, I can't date around. Like if I like somebody, if I'm interested in them, it's like I'm only talking to you, and if that doesn't work, okay, then we'll figure something else out. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I have to believe that there's some perfect match out there. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, and I like what you said too, in terms of like, you know, being your true self and finding the right person. 'Cause, like that's so important. I feel like a lot of us sometimes will, you know, obviously put on some sort of like best self, but it's not really you, and then eventually it kind of comes crumbling down.
Yeah. Oh, I think you definitely want to put your best foot forward, of course, but I think you also got to be authentic and be real. And I think that's what people really, when you are, and then the other person is as well, then you can really connect and then just really see if it's going to work. I feel like it just cuts to the chase a lot quicker. You'll find out if you guys are going to work or not faster.
Definitely. Definitely.
Sorry, my nose is like.
You're doing
Oh,
great.
we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
So what's dating like now, right? I'm sure you're very focused on like career stuff, right? But now that you're in LA and now that you have, that was just a visceral reaction. You want to take that one to
I mean,
start?
I don't know. I'm not currently seeking after anything. I'm just focusing on, you know, my goals and what we came to LA to hopefully accomplish. And if something happens, and I won't like turn it away, but I'm also not gonna, I can't waste any more time with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're not actively on the apps or actively like seeking something.
I don't know if I can do it. I don't think I can do it anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel the same. I think it's just if something happens organically, like I meet someone naturally and it just clicks, then yeah, I'm not going to say no, of course. But at the end of the day, I'm definitely not looking for it because we're very busy and very trying to focus on why we came to LA and why we're doing what we need to do. So
Yeah,
it's kind of
totally
that.
get that. Totally get that. Are there any other siblings in the family?
We have a sister.
Sister? Is she?
She's older than me and younger than Joey.
She's a year and a half younger than me, and she's lives in Washington as well. She's engaged actually. She's been in a relationship for like 8 years.
Oh, really?
She's thriving.
Yeah, she's doing really well. She's a
Good.
teacher. She's doing good.
Nice. What did she have to say about you guys' performance on the show? Anything?
She was so happy
Supportive.
for us and so supportive of the whole thing. And she obviously has been there through all of my dating history and like obviously watched it as well. And she's like, Corrina, what are you doing? It's funny. She's a truth teller for sure.
Okay, I like that.
She was very supportive though. It's
Yes.
like it's nice to our whole family's been supportive, and it's just nice to have that because it's really stressful like doing a show like this and having it come out and you don't know how it's going to turn out, how you're going to look or whatever, and then having your family be there and like supporting you no matter what happens is just like a really nice secure feeling, you know, just
Yeah,
to know you
for
have those
sure.
people that aren't going to judge you no matter what happens. So yeah, we're really lucky to have that.
Same thing with going on the show with your family member like that.
Yeah.
It's so comforting. I wouldn't have been able to do it by myself.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, you
I
guys.
think same for me as well. It had been, it was a very overwhelming experience as it is, and without Corrina, you know, having someone there just to be there, like that knows you, you know what I mean, that well, I think it just makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, you guys definitely like were super honest and you know checked each other a couple times, just making sure that like doing the right thing and making the right decisions and giving like the objective, you know, truths and not like sugarcoating anything, you know, so, which was cool. Definitely, I can see
Honesty
how
is
helpful
good.
that. Yeah,
Authenticity is something that I value.
Yeah, definitely. I think even if it's a truth I don't want to hear, I think I'd rather hear that than someone just, you know, BS.
for
around me.
sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's all. And again, sometimes it's like it's hard sometimes to hear the truth, and it doesn't make things. It doesn't always feel good, but it's. I think it's better in the long run. And
100%.
yeah, definitely.
For sure.
So, Corrina, do you have any like singer songwriters that you look up to that you know have been big inspirations? Like,
Oh,
what got you
gosh.
started in that?
So many. I think one of my biggest like inspirations is Tori Kelly, as well as Kehlani and Kiana Lede, and obviously I love Ariana Grande. But it's those songs that are just so meaningful to them, and it doesn't have to match a like perfect layout of a song. It can be R&B and it can go wherever the feeling and the lyric takes it. And that's something that I really value in songwriting is just being authentic, being honest, and kind of going with the melody that makes it feel like sound how it feels, you know?
Cool. Okay. So she's got music going on, right? You're into it a little bit, but is that what are your like longer term goals? Like trying to ride this wave?
Yeah, I'm definitely focused on social media stuff right now, trying to push that, get my name out there as much as possible. We are in the process of trying to find some acting classes as well, because that's something I would like to pursue. Do more TV shows, some scripted stuff, and then also some more non-scripted stuff. Like I'd love to do more Netflix shows, like Flora's Lava, different things like that. A fun, like funny goal that I always tell people that has been a goal for a long time is Dancing with the Stars. Like when I was like the first season that came out, I was like 11 or 12, and I'd watched it with my grandma, and we like loved it. And my grandma was like, "You should be on that, grandson." Like, and I was like, "I'm like, Grandma, I'm gonna be on that one day, and I'm gonna win." I told her that when I was 11, and that's like something. That's kind of why I do the TikTok dances as well, because hopefully can eventually work to that point and be on and win Dancing with the Stars. That's kind of, it's a funny one, but it's like something I said a long time ago, and I'm trying to stick to it. And
yeah, that's amazing.
We'd love to do that. Yeah.
So I feel like back in the day, maybe you would have gone on as the dancer. Now you're going to go on as the star, I think.
Trying, I'm working my way. Got to become a star first, but definitely working towards that for sure. Has been a big goal of mine.
That's really cool. Yeah, and I think so. You're 29. I feel like you have another 5 years where you could still play a high schooler in Riverdale or something like that.
You
Oh, you
look
think
really
so?
young.
I would love. Thank you. I appreciate that. No, I would definitely love to do that type of a role, like a high school movie. I was super into sports growing up. I played college basketball and all that stuff. So I would definitely be into doing something like that for sure. So, but acting is definitely a skill. It's not something I take lightly. So I definitely want to be prepared to do that. And I can't just say, "Oh, I'm an actor."
Of course,
you know what I mean? So. Yeah, so I'm definitely working towards that. That's my big goal.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I feel like you guys both seem to have your heads screwed on very straight and making great decisions. And even just hearing you say that, because a lot of people like, you know, there's a lot of people in LA. They're attractive.
Move to LA and say they're acting.
I'm attractive. I'm an actor. Yeah, it's like, well, not exactly. Yeah,
Not that easy.
that's great though. Yeah, you guys definitely have the right mentality.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Like one of my biggest goals is like being a Disney princess, like being the voice
Really?
of one,
Oh,
or
voice
like
acting would
live
be another goal,
action or
too.
something like that. So I don't know. One day, maybe. I'm just gonna keep saying it, throwing it out into the universe,
Eventually.
and then
Eventually it'll come
maybe.
true. No, you have the voice of a Disney princess for sure.
Thank you.
that's amazing. Yeah, I love that. All right, what else about the show? Let me see. What was my? So you had the deciding vote essentially,
I
right?
did.
Was it filmed? Maybe you can say this, maybe you can't. But was it filmed?
That was accurate.
Okay, so you did have the actual deciding vote.
Yes.
Did you guys know, like, I know kind of how much of a shock was it that you guys were going to vote on, like the cast was going to vote on the winner? Like
With
before
how
it
things were
happened?
going, I kind of assumed.
I assumed that it was a shock like halfway through when we had to actually vote for people off, like, and say it out loud who we voted for. Like that was brutal. I'm not gonna lie to you, but like at the end, by that point, we knew probably we are gonna have to vote for the winner. But
Yeah.
I feel like it was a pretty clear winner. Kaz and Diana were together the whole time.
Yeah, they
We
were,
really
yeah.
didn't have any issues. So,
well,
I mean, they may or may not have, but I didn't see it. So to me, it was pretty obvious.
Okay. Yeah, and maybe you can't like share the secret recipe, so stop me if you can't. But like, I've heard like you can only talk about what's happening inside the house, right? Do they like you can't talk about like outside? Is that true, or is that like, because I did hear somebody say that about another show. Like if you start to go off, like start talking about like someone you know mutually, like from back home, like they
Yeah.
kind of push you back to like the, you know, talking about
the
the
behind
show.
the scenes stuff is kind of limited, I would say.
Okay.
But yeah,
What and how did you guys adjust to having all the cameras around? Like was it a quick adjustment or was it still
for me,
weird?
it was different than for you, I feel like.
What was it for you?
Because for me, I walked in, I was like, whoa, this is kind of weird to adjust to all the cameras. But then I kind of forgot that they were there. Even the ones that were like,
Yeah, no, it's definitely overwhelming at first. Like I said earlier, you really can't prepare for something like that. You kind of just walk in and you just got to go with it. Like the first night we were in there, we were looking at each other because there's a lot of big personalities in the villa. And I'm definitely more introverted, and I can have a big personality when I need to. But with that kind of a crew and all the cameras and stuff, like it was definitely overwhelming. And I remember looking at Corrina and be like, "Oh my god, they picked the wrong people." Like, I don't feel like I'm your typical person they would pick for reality show because
Well,
I'm
me
not as
either,
loud.
though.
Well, no, neither of us. Like we're not as loud, not as like, you know, if I don't have anything important to say, I'm not going to say anything, and that's my personality. But I don't know. Eventually, you just get used to it, and sometimes you do forget that they're there. But other times, I feel like it's more obvious. But it's when the camera's right here, it's kind of hard to be natural. But you got to do your best and just have fun with it and be yourself.
And do they like? Are they like? Dude, take your shirt off. Like, do they just make you guys like take your shirts off all the time, or is it just like?
I mean, it was pretty hot, so I mean, that naturally,
it's voluntarily just.
Okay.
voluntarily, but I mean,
Not just you, because everyone
they weren't opposed to it. That's for sure.
for sure. Okay, okay,
That's
But it was
funny.
fun. Yeah. Eventually, you get used to it.
yeah, okay. All right, so let's say, I know you guys said you're both very focused on work and careers, and so if you were to date somebody, what do you look for, in a potential partner, or even just early dating? Like, what are some of the things you guys look for?
I think similar interests and just being supportive of everything, because I do have very big goals and aspirations, and I feel like if you have a similar interest in anything, it could be like sports or you're passionate about, whatever, just knowing what it takes and how much of your time goes into that is really important with finding somebody that you're going to date.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
As I've gotten older, I definitely agree with that. I feel like similar interests is such a big thing for me, because if we're just going constantly two different directions with what we're doing, like it's going to be tough to bring it back together. You know what I mean? I want to give her the attention and the time that she deserves, as well as same for me. So I just feel like if we're going in a similar direction, it would make more sense. But besides that, I definitely look for like someone who's just kind and sweet and just easy to be around. Like, I don't feel like I have to try. Like, I mean, obviously I will try, but I mean, like, where it just naturally clicks. You know what I mean? Where it's like we both just enjoy each other's company. We're both doing our thing during the day and then come together and it's just like relaxing and fun. You know what I mean? That's what I look for.
Totally. Okay. All right, so
Yeah, it makes sense. It's
let me
very
ask you
good.
this. Let's say you go back home, right, to Washington for 2 weeks or a month, whatever it is. Joey texts you. He's like, I met this girl. She's amazing.
Oh gosh.
Like, I can't wait for you to meet her. Like, honestly, like, I'm scared of how much I like her. Like, it's happening real fast. And then you get back and you absolutely hate her for some reason.
That's happened.
Has it?
That's happened
Really?
for sure.
Well-
Not to that degree, but like she's definitely made me drop some people before. But like,
Well, not like that.
she didn't say you got to drop her, but like at the end of the day, like she's my best friend and we do everything together, like what we're doing, music and all the stuff. So it's just like if she doesn't get along with that person, it's just not gonna work long term. And I know that, so it's just like it may hurt in the moment, but I know it's if there's a reason. If she doesn't like someone, it's for a reason.
Uh-huh.
I don't. Yeah, I don't just go out and not like.
She's not just
it's
Of
not
course.
me.
Yeah, you don't see. It doesn't seem
That's
like
happened like
But
once.
if
unless
I
it's
s-
an evil Disney princess. Then
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But if it's like somebody that I know isn't like the best fit for you, then
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, because I don't want you to waste your time or you end up getting hurt in the process or them to be getting hurt in the process. You know what I mean?
So you obviously.
But I am supportive.
Yeah. So you guys put a lot of like stock into what the other thinks of. You
100%.
obviously value the other's opinion a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I know that he wants what's best for me. And if he doesn't see that that's what's best for me, he's going to tell me. And even if it's like, nah, I think you're wrong. Like, it always kind of ends up that you're right.
Yeah. I feel like it's like the show said, like we're on the show with someone who knows us better than anyone else. So if we're here to find love, and that's the perfect wingman. Like she knows what I'm looking for. She knows even the things that I don't even know I'm looking for. She knows because she knows she's around me all the time. We live together in LA. Like she's there for all of it. So if she sees something wrong, there's probably something wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I respect it.
But that's not most of the time the case.
No,
You
like,
have
I think there's
to-
been one girl where she was like, no. Everybody else, she's like,
And vice
very-
versa,
it's
there was,
easy
like,
for you to get along.
one.
She's pretty easy to get along with. So it's like,
Thank you.
it's a red flag if they're not.
Yeah, totally. You know what's interesting too is like because I always think about like if I was on the show, like what would I do or whatever.
Yes.
And so what's the Canadian dude's name?
Daniel.
Daniel, right? And like you guys had the bromance going.
Oh, yeah, of
And I
course.
was like, that's what I think. I was like, if I was on a show like this, I was like, I probably would just be hanging out with the boys the whole time. Like,
Especially with how many. Oh, no, I'll just finish. Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying. Like, I mean, yeah, if there's a girl I was into, yeah, but I'm just like, I'll just chill with the boys and like whatever happens. That's
was
me though.
That was
I don't know.
100% the vibe, especially with how many guys and how few girls there was in there. Like, and we'd just be split. Like they'd be doing the makeup room, doing their makeup. We'd be down there working out. Like, so of course you're gonna hang out with the boys, and it
Yeah.
was just the vibe. Like me and Daniel clicked right away. That's the boy, and we still work out together every day. Like he's in LA as well right
Nice.
now, so I see him.
So you
every
did
day.
fall in love on the show. Though.
Oh,
You
of
just,
course,
just
the
not what you
bromance.
thought.
They
Was,
should
yeah.
have won.
No,
Yeah.
the bromance 100%.
I would have voted for
won.
yeah. I would have voted for them.
But
yeah.
we still joke about that. People say that in our comments on our TikToks. The bromance should have won. Okay, and I'm like, heck yeah. But because like the final question is always funny because the final question was like, which relationship is most likely to survive outside the villa? And in my mind, I'm like, that's an
No
obvious
doubt.
answer.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, Daniel's super cool and he's doing really well.
Love it. Cool. All right. What else should we touch on?
What did you think about the show when you watched? What were your initial like?
Yeah,
You're like, oh, they're dating their sibling. What?
well, when I
What's
first
the name of it? It's
Yeah.
not bad, honestly.
So yeah, the first time I met Joey was with Jason and Chris down in Santa Monica, and
Yeah.
like see these three guys roll off the beach, no shirts on, like they got their camera. I was like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
these fuck boys are just
oh
like
god.
so
That's
so
hilarious.
Yeah, so we're out there,
how it
like-
happened, too.
exactly, and we're out there like we're at June Shine like pitching our app to people and just buying drinks for people for the app.
Yeah.
And they come in, but same like I said, like three dudes coming up, but they were cool as hell right away, and we just had a great conversation, and we were getting ready to have the launch party, so we invited you guys, and it was just like, oh, they seem really cool.
It was great, by the way.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that was
Thank
super
you.
fun night.
Appreciate
Yeah,
that. But yeah, so like once they said dated and related, obviously I'm like, that sounds a little incestual. Like what's going on there? Which I'm sure everyone kind of had that reaction, which is why they probably named it that. Yeah, the show itself, like I said, like I think this show in particular was so much more wholesome and like less drama filled than pretty much any other reality show I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it was probably a lot more like PG-13 than, you know, like a Love Island or a
2 out to handle
F-Boy Island type of thing. Yeah. So like, yeah, it was very different, but I really enjoyed it. And like, you know, I'm very close with my brother as well. So like same thing I was thinking about, like, what if we were on the show and like we're both super goofy and like, it'd probably be like, you know, so I was able to relate to the sibling part of it a lot. But yeah, it was just a very different like twist on a typical dating show, you know, and I grew up like real world, road rules, like all this stuff where people just like destroy their lives over the course of a reality show. So it was definitely refreshing to see, you know, a more wholesome, just like chill vibe, and you know, you kind of root for your favorites and stuff. So that was really cool.
It's a super unique show. I've never seen anything like this. That's why when we got invited to do it, I was just like, I've never heard of a sibling double dating show. Like, this is very unique, very cool, and the fact that we got to do it together is just like no brainer. I mean, it was super fun.
How many? Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, at the same time, I was like thinking when we first started like the whole filming process, I was like, what did we get ourselves into? Because I didn't know what it was gonna be like or anything like that.
You don't know what to expect. You're just throwing yourself in there and just try to be nice to everyone and just hope for the best. You know what I mean? Like that was my goal anyways. So and make sure she's all right. So
definitely. Well, so from the first time that Netflix reached out, right, from the TikToks, like what was the process like leading up? Like how many different interviews were there, or like was it a crazy process, or
like 4 interviews?
Was there? Honestly, it wasn't. It was pretty quick. Like we had a couple phone calls, and then we had the Zoom interview, which was like the big one, and then we had to do a lot of stuff for that. And then once we did that, they're like, "Oh wow, we think the network's really gonna like you guys. We'll let you know how it goes." We didn't hear back for like 3 months after that, and then all of a sudden we had a call from like a UK number. I don't know anybody in the UK, so I'm like, but I knew the show was made from a UK company, so I'm like, this must be the show. And like, hi, is this Joey? And I'm like, yeah, they had an accent and everything. I was like, yeah.
You do it good.
This is Sophia. This is Sophia with Netflix, and we'd love to have you and Corrina on our show. Blah blah blah. And I'm just like, I was at work, and my jaw just was. I was at work too when I got the call. Because I didn't know it was Netflix until that.
That was when we knew.
She's like Netflix. I'm like, I couldn't believe it, and I was like, okay, Corrina, we're going to France. Like I called her right away. I was like, you know what I mean? I had to call my boss the next day and be like, hey, I'm going to be gone for 6 weeks or so.
Yeah. What were you doing at the time?
I worked for a supply chain company in Seattle.
Okay.
Yeah, it was actually a great job. Actually, I really enjoyed it. But had to do take the chance and do the show. So
of course.
Yeah.
Was there any hesitation? Not once you got the call, but like, so had you been seeking out like other reality shows at all, or was this?
I never in a million years would have thought I've done a reality TV show, because I've seen enough of them to know, like, I'm like,
enough of the Bachelor.
because normally they pick people that are very, very, very outgoing, and I can be that at times, but it's just like I didn't feel like I would be good on a show like that. I didn't feel like it'd be entertaining enough, because it's just like I'm more introverted.
Yeah.
But yeah, so no, we never seeked it out before that, to be honest. It just kind of happened.
That's dope. Yeah. And you never know, like, right? Because like if you didn't start making TikToks, obviously this wouldn't have happened. So
100%.
Yeah, you never know what good can come out of something.
You know what's crazy though is, do you remember when we were at home and we were going for a walk during like COVID times, when it was like you couldn't really like go out and do anything. All you could do is like stay in your house or go for a walk. We were going for a walk and you're like, Corrina, I think you're gonna be on Netflix. And that was what, like 3 years ago?
Oh, I literally was like, I'm gonna get you on Netflix.
Do you remember you saying that?
I remember I said that. Yeah.
Shit.
But I had no intention of a reality TV show. I was just like, because she acted.
I was kind of laughing. I was like,
we've been doing
yeah.
music and stuff for a long time. Like, so we've been working, and we were working towards that, having a career in entertainment before this. And then I was like, I'm gonna get you on Netflix. And I just jokingly would say it. And then 3 years later, now looking back, and they're like, we're on Netflix.
Whoa.
But obviously not what we thought.
No,
but like,
that's amazing.
That's crazy.
Great.
That I can't even believe that.
Yeah.
I remember saying that on a walk. It was like overcast and raining, but
That's so cool.
crazy.
So 2 weeks, the album comes out. Where can people find it?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Spotify,
Apple Music, YouTube, anywhere that you stream music, you can listen to the album.
Okay. And yeah, I'm not going to wrap it up yet, but yeah, plug your socials and what do we got here? So where can people find you on?
Joey Roppo, JoeyRoppo on all platforms.
A little rap
yeah. Does it have a little rap on it?
Yeah, he goes,
on all platforms, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, everything. And then our only thing that's different is the Roppos, our YouTube channel. We actually have one video up right now. We have multiple more coming. So the Roppo's on YouTube. Everything else is just our names.
Yes, my socials are just Corrina Roppo. I finally got my Instagram back.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what happened? What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
Of
Yeah.
all
No,
the
I
people that
didn't.
get to get like reported, Corrina got reported.
I woke
That
up
was, like,
one
crazy.
day and my Instagram was suspended, and I kind of looked into it, filled out some forms, and apparently I was falsely reported for impersonating myself.
Which is
I don't
crazy
know.
Oh, wow.
because like we had multiple like collaboration posts with him, so I'm collaborating with her. So like it's crazy that we. Both
It was
did
a really crazy situation, but I just got it back today.
I saw
Actually,
that. I saw that. I feel like Joey drove up to Instagram headquarters and got it
Did
straight.
you? You
We
straight
were
might
down
on the
have.
way
right away.
because I was just like, this is unfortunate timing because we had all this
Oh,
stuff
I was
planned,
so
and it was just
sad.
like, but you handled it really well. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you.
So and now it's back though, so it's all good.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How are you guys as? We know how you are as siblings. How are you as roommates?
Really good.
Whoa. Okay.
No,
we
we're
don't
good,
ever
we're
fight.
good.
The only sorry, the only times we ever fight, I feel like, is when on creative direction with stuff when we see going two different ways. Other than that, we like never fight. I
Yeah.
don't think.
Our fights are always really small and they're really silly.
And they're pretty much squashed after like an hour.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, because you had a little bit of a reaction there.
yeah. There's
Well,
yeah.
she was joking, but
Okay. Okay.
I think. Oh, I mean,
no things are good. Things as roommates are
we're
really
both
good.
pretty
We're
clean.
really
We're both
similar,
very
so,
like yeah. So it's and we yeah.
yeah. It's
Best
fine.
friends for a long
Yeah,
time,
it's
so it's pretty a lot of stuff. And both we're pretty non-confrontational people. So unless it's really bad, like I'll just like let it slide, and so does she. So
Yeah, it's true. Pick
okay.
your battles.
So how when you have a TikTok dance together, how many takes? Like how much is the rehearsal? How many takes do you have usually? Even
It's
if,
a
like,
lot rehearsal.
Is it a long
that goes
rehearsal?
into it.
that's the hardest part. Is feel like is the learning. It's depending on how intricate the dance is, obviously, but like learning it to make it because you have to like master it, and then so you can look like you're having fun when you do it, or have actually because if you're just focused on the steps, it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
You have
And
to
it's
be-
different though too. Like when you do a solo dance or I do a solo dance, it doesn't take as much time because it takes a long time to sync up everything.
'Cause
Because
one thing's
you'll
off, it
add
looks
something
terrible.
stylistic. I'm like, okay, I didn't know we were lifting the leg at that part. Like you really have to synchronize everything.
Yeah, so definitely a lot more work for the 2-person dances,
Yeah.
but it's definitely
Worth it. It's
worth
so
it.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think my favorite was there a Missy Elliott video back in the day,
probably.
or maybe
Yeah.
Lil Kim or something.
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get canceled for confusing the two of them.
No,
No, it's okay.
Yeah,
Don't
it was from a
cancel
while
him.
back. It was from a while back, but yeah, I'm a big fan of the videos. Yeah,
Thank you
you.
so much. We appreciate that.
yeah. So yeah, like you said, like if you don't know the steps and you can't have fun, which was me in that class. So it was,
Yeah.
I know the
No.
feeling. I know the feeling.
Yeah,
No,
when
I
you jump
really-
in our TikTok, we'll have the steps down and then you can enjoy it the whole time.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yes.
Sounds good. We both played basketball for like you said our whole lives. You played through college. I played through college.
Yeah.
and it
You played with Steph Curry. That's pretty sick.
was cool. Yeah, I was a screen setter for Steph Curry mostly.
that's
That's
awesome.
Shouts out.
That's
Yeah.
great.
But yeah, it's interesting. So like for me personally, because like basketball was my whole life, you know, like I had fun, did other stuff, but like, you know, from the time I was 7 and through college, it's like everything revolves around it essentially, right?
100%. Yeah.
And for me, like I had such a good time at Davidson. Like I always say, like with my, you know, coaches and teammates, like I was doing exactly what I wanted to do, where I wanted to do it, with who I wanted to like do it with.
Yeah.
So like once I graduated, I had such a hard time like finding that next thing that I cared like
That much
as
about?
much about. Yeah. And it basically still haven't to a extent. Like I've obviously come to terms that it was over like pretty much right after, but
Yeah.
it left like a hole like where I was like, I don't have anything that like I get up every single day to like put that much effort, like that I want to work that hard at, you
Yeah.
know? So that's been a little tough. This app is actually one of the first things. Cause like you, like I work a day job still for, it's basically a construction company. I just do sales. I can't even use a hammer. I could use one a little bit, but it's not pretty. But like, but it's a great job. Like, it gives me flexibility to do this stuff and hopefully, you know, transition into the app full time if it's going well.
Yeah.
But yeah, the app I would say is the first thing that's really like got
Grabbed
me
your
like
attention.
excited about. But yeah, did you like have something similar?
Yeah, that's actually really funny you said that. I felt the same exact way. Like 'cause when you do something your whole life, like I played till I was from a baby all the way till I graduated, so 23, and it was like my life. And I thought about playing overseas professionally for a little bit, but it just like, didn't really work out. And I was like I also wanted to move on to the next thing and see, you know, like getting my career going and everything like that. But it's funny. So like that's kind of how we started doing music. So once I got done with basketball, is when I started playing guitar because like I always wanted to play and I had family members that played. And I felt left out when every time they'd have a jam session. So I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. So I started doing it and I just got obsessed with it. And just, that's all I did was just
Like 8-9 hours.
8
a day.
out. Yeah. Like
Wow.
when I was getting my master's, I coached at the school I played for. So I got my master's, I do my schoolwork, do my coaching stuff, and I just play guitar for the rest of the day.
Wow.
And that's how we started writing music and just started doing all that. So I think I went literally straight from basketball. As soon as that was done, went straight to guitar. And now I'm doing that. And that's kind of filled that void that you said, like, because when you put that much time into something, it's just like, I feel like you're a very like hardworking guy. Like you're dedicated, and that's how I was. Like always basketball. And now it's more like transitioned into music and social media stuff and entertainment and all that stuff. So it's kind of been the thing that's filled the gap for me. But it's really funny. We definitely can relate to that because I felt that same way.
Yeah.
Afterwards when it was done.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting. So you said like Justin Timberlake and those guys were early influence, and you eventually kind of came full circle to. Seems like
to
you're
back
kind
to
of a
that.
jack of all trades, and because I think
thank you.
he's one of the probably premier like overall entertainers, I would say.
Oh,
between
absolutely.
singing, dancing, hosting. He's funny. Like he's got a
He
whole
acts. He
bunch-
does all of it. Yeah,
Exactly.
no.
So seems like you kind of have a similar.
Definitely look up to JT for sure.
Yeah.
Shout out
People
Justin
say that he
Timberlake.
looks like
I was gonna
him.
say now I see the hair a little
thank
bit.
you.
Like
That wasn't intentional,
yeah.
but it just I appreciate it. That's like one of my favorite compliments because I look up to him so much, and he's just a great person and very talented.
Yeah,
So.
for sure.
It's funny with the basketball thing because my story's a
Karina's
little bit
nasty
different.
too. Like she's
Really?
really good. Her jumper
Thank
is
you.
debatably, well, it's not
But-
better than mine, but it's debatable.
But like my whole life was basketball. Like he was in the gym from a young age. I was always at his games. I was always on the side, like doing drills, and grew up playing. And like you guys were saying, like that's your whole life. And so I got to like senior year, and it was like, okay, you can go play college, or I had this passion for music, and I haven't had any time to dive into that because everything was always basketball. So I made the choice when I graduated to not play in college and focus more on music and take music classes and do all that. And that's kind of where it started for me too.
Yeah.
It's great. I feel like a lot of people don't know that about her is that you were very athletic and very like people know me, like my friends back home, like they were shocked.
You're
that,
like the sporty guy and you're like,
yeah,
oh,
I'm
he
like the
does
sport-
music?
Yeah, so like now people are shocked where she was always like the musical one.
Yeah.
People are shocked that she was as sporty as she is. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was our childhood. We grew up in a super
sports
sporty
family, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. And it's interesting too, because for me, my like maybe junior year, like someone brought back the Davidson Show, which was like an old like in like inter school TV show with like
nice.
sketch comedy and like variety show, all sorts of stuff. And my friend Austin brought it back when he was a freshman, and I kind of got involved. And like I didn't have time to do much, but like in the preseason when I had a little more time, I would do stuff with the show. And then my senior year, I got much more involved. And I remember my coach, like he was always trying to find different ways to motivate us and like light a fire under your ass and stuff. So like I remember one time he called me in and he's like, he basically told me I was doing too much of the show, which debatable, but like at the same time, I was like, yeah, I got to put 100% of my focus in basketball, not 99 even, right? So, but like it was always that like thing that was like my not more of my passion, but an additional passion. Yeah. And I feel like the app gives me like that outlet, which I've been looking for, right? With the podcast, we do some like Steve on the Street content where we interview people. So it's kind of
stuff is great, by the way.
Yeah,
Thank you. And we're
that.
trying to find the groove because like we're trying to keep it a little bit classy, but at the same time, like gotta get the views, right?
Yeah.
You gotta get the
Yeah,
downloads.
yeah.
So like
100%.
it's a balance between trying to do like viral content versus like not do anything too crazy or too like morally questionable.
Yeah,
So,
I know what you mean.
but it's
Gotta find the
definitely
balance.
exactly. But it's definitely like scratching that itch, and it's kind of coming full circle, which is awesome. And I think like for me too, like I've wanted to do stuff like this for such a long time, but I didn't have like I didn't know where to channel it all. Right. I was like, I don't want to just can't just do like a random podcast. Like who's going to listen? And, you always, I don't know if you guys, but like a lot of self-doubt sometimes in terms of like, am I like good enough or
Of
this?
course.
Right.
Everyone
So
I think
like,
everyone has that.
exactly.
That never
So,
goes
like,
away.
right.
Even
So-
Justin Timberlake probably feels that sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even like they talk about like, I know like I heard Tony Robbins one time talking about like Bruce Springsteen, like being nervous before shows, like in his 50s and 60s. And it's like, he's like, no, it's not that you're nervous. It's just that you're like excited and ready. Right. You know that something big's coming up. So trying to figure out different ways to like, not mind games, but to learn what's happening with that type of stuff and then overcoming it. Right. But yeah, this app gives me like the perfect outlet to like channel all my energy and all my creative stuff into. So it's been like kind of a savior in that sense to kind of have it all come full circle.
No, it's super cool. Do you pause for a second? Can we ask you about the app? Like, because obviously this is
please.
a fun. So is that something you want to talk about on here? Or?
Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually really funny. Like when I remember me and Jason and Chris walked up to you and we heard dating app and we instantly kind of like rolled our eyes a little bit. Like it's like, we know Tinder, Hinge, all that stuff. But like the actual idea for From actually is super, super sound. And I feel like let's talk about that a little bit because it's really a good idea. And I'm actually interested in investing because I really believe in it that much. And for someone who's like seriously looking to date, I feel like it's the best idea that I've heard for an app out there.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. And I wish Joe was here because it's his baby.
Shout out to Joe.
Yeah, shout out Joe. We miss you. But yeah, so I've been off dating apps for probably the last 7 years. Like I used like Tinder and Bumble like when they first came out, which I think was like 2012, and then I don't know when Bumble followed soon after. But like I got tired of that too. Like especially I was living in New York, so so many people around. Yeah, so like I tried them out, but then it got to the point where it was like I remember I moved here and I was like sitting home on like one of the first Friday nights that I was here, and I was on an app. And I just had like this moment where I was like, why am I not out like meeting people? So I just like cold turkey deleted them. And that was like over 5 years ago. But this app, so like Joe's been working on it for a couple of years. I started helping him maybe a year and a half ago. And for me, like, again, I'm still not even super interested in dating apps because I prefer to meet someone in person. And just like live my life and meet someone. And if we have a good vibe, we'll explore it and see what happens. But like even this app, like if I was to use one, which I am using this one and I am actively using it, right? I'm on there not only looking for bugs, I'm looking for dates too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like it gives you the only way you can talk to somebody is if you set a date with them, right? Just the way the app works, right? You have to have the date set and then you can only talk like the 6 hours before the date starts. So you don't get to know somebody through text only, right? Where you meet them and it's like, we've talked about the families, we've talked about this. Like sometimes having a little bit of context is good, but like as long as you're not having
everything about the person and get to the date, you have nothing to talk about, and then you could have, that could have been your soulmate, and then but it was awkward because you had nothing to talk about, so you kind of missed the vibe. So I think it's really cool that forces you to meet up in person and get that organic interaction. I feel like that's what's so cool about it. So you're well done.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Well done, Joe.
Good job,
Joe. But yeah, that's the feedback. Like you said, like most people when we're out pitching the app, just to random people, that's the first reaction is they roll their eyes and they're like, oh, another dating app. But then if they're on dating apps, they know how they work. They're once we explain it to them, they're intrigued because it does, like a lot of people do. Their biggest complaint is they're talking to somebody for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks even, and then they either get ghosted or lose interest and never meet up. And it's
like you said, it's just like with that, everyone has so many options. So if one thing goes wrong or something like that, you can just move on to the next one. I think that's just kind of ruining it. If you're meeting people naturally, it's more of like you have that more investment because you're meeting them in person instead of just looking at them through pictures and phone. You know what I mean? So
exactly,
I really am on board for that. I like you said, I don't really use dating apps either. I never really have. But if I was going to use one, it would definitely be From.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, and it's like there's that. But that's the thing too. Like we're all so busy, especially like in LA, right? Most people seem to be very busy, chasing goals, chasing career goals, and it's like for you to commit to a date and like mark it off on your schedule, figure out what you're gonna wear. Like for girls too, it's 10x, right? What guys do to get ready to. Yeah, it's a huge investment, time, energy. A little bit of money, like everything you have to like. So like for our app, it forces you to be a lot more like conscious of what you're doing, right? You're not just swiping right 1,000 times. It's like you have to actually be like, I actually think I would like to go out with that person based on the limited information I have. And again, it's not for everybody because some people do like to truly vet, which is why we have like an Instagram handle and you can kind of stalk somebody out a little bit if you want to. So there's different things in place. But yeah, for me, it's like if I wasn't involved in the app and I was going to use an app,
it would definitely be
I would use this because of just the way it works. So yeah, dating in LA is interesting. I'm sure
Very
you guys.
Good. Me and Joey have had some work on wingmanning, so we can wingman you too.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
professional wingman. Well, are we professionals? We both ended up single, so I don't know. But
no, you didn't.
I feel like I'm a great wingman. Yeah.
Well, you didn't force anything that was bad, so I think that's good. Yeah. Good wingman knows when to pick and choose the battles,
that's
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. What are you doing on time here?
Sorry, I had like a cough attack.
No, literally. When we first started, my nose was like going. I'm like sounding like those.
Yeah, you guys are getting over a little something, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How are we feeling?
I feel
good
fine.
Now. I'm feeling good. Yeah, we're in the groove now.
Okay, good.
Tickle.
Good. All right. So what's like a typical day in the life with you guys, like in terms of creating content and making moves?
Current day in the life is wake up, go to the gym.
What gym are you going to?
It's called TriFit. It's like 3-minute walk from our house. Okay. And I go there with Daniel every day and we work out together and it's super fun and we can film content there. We'll work out and come back.
Eat. film,
learn
learn
a dance or two, and then we film a lot of our dances on our like parking garage of our apartment building. So
Yeah.
we wait for golden hours, which is like 5:30 to 6:30. So we'll go up there, we'll learn the dance, get it down, and then go up there and film in the afternoons. And then after that, it's video.
I've been
editing.
loving, by the way, like your sweatsuit situation.
Oh,
with
thank
all
you so
those.
much.
Yeah.
Me too.
Boohoo Man, if you guys want to sponsor, that would be great. I'm running out of sweatsuits, but yeah.
No, it looks great.
Boohoo man, get this man on board.
Thank you. Or actually, you know what? I kind of want to start my own sweatsuit brand. That would be super sick. If we did
That'd
like
be
a
cool.
sibling sweatsuit brand
I can
thing,
be a
our
part of
own.
it. That's
That would be
nice.
really
That would be
cool.
super sick for all of our duo dances. You know what I mean?
It's very true.
Very
Yeah,
marketable.
that'd be dope.
Yeah.
We're actually
Putting that out there.
working on our merch line now.
Hey, yo.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
the first round's on me.
What do you guys got? You guys got a sweatsuit?
We're working on it. Yeah, working on
That'd be
it.
sick.
So I was going to ask you about that actually. So because I'm not super familiar with TikTok. Like I didn't get on during the pandemic, which I had a job that just took up too much time for me to do anything creative. But like I'm starting to now because of necessary business reasons. But so I'm kind of learning the platform. But I have not seen your TikTok. I've only seen you guys on Instagram. So what's the following like on there? Is it like do you have a big following, or do you have any like any brand deals? Like how do you guys do anything with that yet, or are you still in the process of kind of growing it? Or
We're still in the process for sure.
Still in the process of growing it, probably about the same as maybe a little more than Instagram.
Okay.
But we're definitely growing for sure.
okay, because TikTok is definitely probably more conducive to like the dance stuff. I mean, Instagram Reels are
Yeah.
good for it, but I would say TikTok's probably like the
The place for
Yeah.
it for sure. I think for me, I'm on Instagram. I use it mainly for because like I was like on the show portrayed as a shy person, so people are kind of when they see me dancing and stuff
They're
like
like,
that, they're
"Whoa,
like shocked because
who's
like
that?"
they didn't see that side of me on the show, obviously. But like so that's one thing I use it for on Instagram as well, is just to show that oh he's not as shy as he's perceived. You know what I mean?
But
Like,
you
Yeah.
are shy, but there's
I can be in that
multiple
scenario,
sides of
but yeah.
well, like you said though, I like that. It's like because if you don't have anything
you to say.
good
you're
to
not
say,
gonna
yeah. Because
say.
I'm kind of similar in that way. Like
Yeah.
people think I'm a little quiet sometimes, but it's like nah, you just
I'm
like to
just
talk a
chilling.
lot, and
Yeah.
I don't have anything
Just
to
let
add.
you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm not adding, then you're taking away. So I might as well
For
just
sure.
keep.
It's true.
So have any brands contacted you guys at all yet in terms? Okay, so you're
We're definitely been working through some stuff. It's still all new to us, so we're still kind of trying to work through it and what's the fair price,
Navigating
what's
through
this, what's not, and yeah. But so we're still working through some of that stuff. But yeah, definitely been getting reached out to.
okay. Yeah, because it's interesting with us too. Like in the first, basically, we've been up and running for about a little over 2 months, right? So not super long, but like working with certain influencers, like it's been interesting to us to like learn kind of the hard way sometimes in terms of wasting money on
Yeah.
people we thought were gonna, move the needle for us in terms of like downloads and engagement. So we've gotten a lot better at vetting, and like there's a lot of smoke and mirrors out there in terms of like, fake followers and like all this stuff. So it's been like, it's been challenging for us to like find people like for example, like we have, I would say our best partnership was with somebody that had the smallest following but the most engaged audience, right? So that day we saw like 10x the downloads off 10 times less followers, and this girl was amazing for us. And like, so we're really trying to get better at vetting, like which are the right people for our audience and location wise and age wise, all the demo stuff. And it's hard because we're a small startup, so it's like we only have so many hours in a day to like find the right people. But it's very interesting to me, and we're getting there.
Yeah.
So
It's tricky, but you guys are doing great.
thank
definitely
you.
doing great.
Appreciate that.
Everything I've seen it from has been top notch. So check it out, guys.
Thank you.
Check it out.
Thank you. I did have a follow-up question for something you guys just said.
We're talking about dances, app. How we were portrayed.
Anything else from the show that we didn't touch on?
I don't know. There's a lot that
I-
went down for me.
I will say my heart broke a little bit every time
Oh.
that one of these guys let you down.
It's okay. Thank
Yeah.
you though.
But again, I think it's your personality too to like, put your whole self into it. Like you said, like kind of if you see someone you're into and feels good, then you're gonna like go after it, which is obviously always sets you up for a harder fall if it doesn't work out, which is tough.
But I think that I have a lot of respect for you for that. Is like just putting yourself out there and going for it, especially like not just in real life, but on a TV show. I guess that takes a lot of like courage and stuff like
Definitely.
that. So I really respect that. I think the audience does as well.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I feel like my biggest fear is always like regretting something. And so in my head, I'm like, if I go all in and give it everything that I have, then it's not going to fail because of me. It's going to fail just because it's not the right fit and it's not going to work. And that's kind of just how I approach things. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great. And you can always look yourself in the mirror and sleep at night knowing you tried.
Fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
We're fine.
Everything's
We're
fine.
good.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
No, but there is a song even on the album called Higher Height, because that's how I feel is like when I do invest everything, it's like you fall from a higher height, because when it doesn't work out, the hurt is worse. Like you hit harder, you know?
But if it works out.
But if it works out, then you're flying.
You're flying.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, so-
And that's the way to live, right? Go after like the things that really, make you feel great and make you feel alive. And I think that's the way to do it in relationships, is like put your whole self into it. And if it doesn't work out, it's going to hurt. But like,
then
yeah.
Then you move on.
Yeah.
Definitely. I agree with that.
All right. So what would be, we'll end it with this. What would be, so this is one of our early podcasts, right? Like I said, I think it's number 5 or 6. You guys are fresh off the show,
Yes.
starting this new phase of your lives. Super exciting. When we look back at this in 10 years from now,
Ooh.
right?
10 years.
Yeah. And we're going to put it, because we manifested the Netflix appearance, right?
Yeah, that was
It's true.
crazy.
We're manifesting a few things here. So we're going to manifest something right now.
Okay.
And we're going to look back at this in like 10 years or 15 years. What do you want your life to look like, ideally?
Are you going first?
If you want me to.
Yeah,
I
you
can.
go. You start.
You go first.
All right. So ideally for me, I would say over this next 6 months, we continue an upward trajectory with the app. New York City is a giant tipping point for us, where we kind of take that next step and we get a next investment, and I'm able to go full time with the app, right? And I want the content to be running like a well-oiled machine, right? Because right now we have all these plans. So I was talking to somebody yesterday at the gym, and basically we were talking about like startups and stuff, and she's like, startups like it's like being proactive versus reactive, right? And all the plans that Joe and I have are proactive, where it's like, yeah, we want to release 1 podcast a week, and we want to release small clips every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then we want to release Steve on the Street on Tuesday and Thursday. But the day turns into 50 reactive things, right? Where it's like,
Things you can't control. come
yeah,
up,
and it's just, exactly, the inbox starts filling up, and it's like, this person that we were working with, like we're working with this kid who's got a big TikTok following, and like he sent over, like he's gonna do a branded piece for us, but like he sent over the script, and like we talked to him on the phone, and he's great. He seems like a great kid, but he's very surfer bro, and he's like, yeah, like just like we're trying to have like a conversation and really blow up this idea, and he just like, yeah, it sounds good, man. And it's like, we need a little more.
Here, need more energy.
Right. I just need more information also. And like, so he sent us over the script, and I told Joe, I was like, I'm going to have to write this script. So like, that was not supposed to be on my plate. Like, we're paying him to give us the product, but like this thing he sent over was like very much like it just felt like a branded ad. And I was like, this is not going to work out. So that would be an example of something that was not on my schedule for the day or the week. And now I have to do. So being proactive versus reactive is like, I think the biggest challenges right now. And doing my day job, where it's like, I have, like I told you guys before, like I literally have, I hope they don't hear this, but I have like my work call on Zoom on mute, and then I have a First Rounds on Me call going that I'm hoping that they don't call me for anything. Like it's like a group, a team call.
Yeah.
So I'm just like praying that my name doesn't get said. But like it's just like chaos every day. So like trying to get to this proactive point. So that's what I want to see in the next like 6 months, is I'm able to go full time with the app, because it's doing well enough, and we're on our way. And we have a consistent podcast schedule. We have consistent Steve on the Street. I want to go do events where, there's the First Rounds on Me rep, and we're doing interviews, we're doing event coverage, and like a little bit of a vlog situation. But yeah, we just want to grow the app. So that would be in the next 6 months to a year, hopefully. Outside of that, like, I don't know, I really want to get good at this, like podcasting and making content. So like, I've always like kind of secretly wanted to do something, not secretly, but want to do something like comedy, not necessarily stand up, but just like,
Oh, you should try stand up.
I did a few times.